a lot of people fail to realize that this development program has been there for a long time. As you see today in our national hockey team, a lot of young boys are actually playing hockey. They come from the One Mas program, which actually mooted long time ago. But only the name changes, but the program has always been there. So that's why in 2010, when the One Mas program came, funding was given by government. The funding was supposed to finish in 2015, but when I came on board and with Datuk Shamala heading the development program, we made sure that we spend wisely and we stretched it for another 2 years, finished in 2017. In 2017, we extended, we used our own funds for 2017, 2018, and then 2019, I think government saw, MSN saw that, hey, look, these guys are actually doing some good development program in the grassroots level. And then they came and chipped in about 700,000 to help us out. But we also went in and said, look, we need to have a long-term program. For example, at football, you have the NFDP, which also produce a lot of players. As you know, there's some of them playing overseas today. We need to do that also for hockey. You have to believe in us. The only way where we can achieve goals that government has set and also to be champions in World Cups or even Olympics or to qualify for it, you need to have continuity in terms of developing young talent, and Malaysia is never short of young talent, especially in hockey and many sports actually, but hockey is one of them that I think we somehow rather naturally we develop a lot of good talent in Malaysia. That's why whenever a foreign coach comes to Malaysia, they say, hey guys, you guys are so talented, amazing talented, but that stops there. So this is something that the coaches have to look into. There's so much talent, but what is happening? We're not being there. We're there, but we're still not where we really want to be. So I think this thing that we're going to do is actually nothing new. It's something there. Only thing we're rebranding it. So maybe Dato', you want to talk a bit of that, and then you can give some ideas so at least you get a clearer picture.
Yeah, I think our structure for the development has been very solid over the past 5-6 years. We've actually never stopped the development program, and actually this NHDP is not a new launch. It is just the program taking off for this year, and unfortunately because of the MCO, we've had a bit of delay in it actually being deployed. But the program started off, as you know very well, with the One Mas program in 2010, and then we stretched it right up to 2017. Then in 2017, I think the board decided to rebrand the name from One Mas to give it a more generic name, which was closer to Malaysian hockey, which is the National Hockey Development Program. The best name to describe any of the development program for any sport. And then in 2017, 2018, we continued right up to this year. So this year what we've done is we're following the same structure. Only thing, we are now evidently working with the Ministry of Education to make sure the centres are mainly oriented with schools. That's a new key point. That means our decision making process involves directly the Ministry of Education. We're just not partnering with them. So they are involved with the naming of the centres. And then there's a process directly. I think we've already got Paul Revington as the technical director. And the main target is to form the hockey DNA to be standardized. Previously, the main idea was to make sure the kids have a program at the States. This time around, it is really a direct channel so that we will produce the same kind of hockey players that we need at national level from the centres that we are actually identified. So, and we have a new position called the State Development Coordinator, Technical Coordinator, which will report directly to Paul Revington. And we expect that person to actually be the person who's going to be the pulse of MHC at the state level. So we're looking into very close monitoring of the program now, because previously it was on trust based. We find there's a lot of gaps, sometimes miscommunications and things like this. So this time we're very, very meticulous about the process. First time we had an interview for applicants which are nominated by the State Hockey Association and from the Ministry of Education at the state. So two sources of candidates, and I think as what Datuk Seri mentioned earlier, we want the state to be empowered. So this time around, it's not MHC center at the state, it is MHC partnered directly with the states and the state education center in the respective states. So any of the decision happens, it's a collective decision. So we want the buy-in of everyone. So it is just we are re-engineering the process to become more stringent and more quality-based now. Now we are really going after the quality because earlier it is based on trust, and that's why you find that ironically, after $700,000 has been deployed, people are saying, "Do you have a program? Are you there?" So the onus lies on the people who get the money, not on us. So this time around, what we're going to do, we're going to meticulously use the social media to actually show the development of these programs, and then at the end, we're going to have a very clear evaluation whether the people who have been entrusted with this have succeeded in doing their job well. So I think that's
Also we're giving back to the state. Okay, we will assist the state in terms of funding, etc. And the selection is done by the technical guy who's actually an expert. He's been on the men's team, he's on the women's team, he's done development, he's been an ex-coach in Malaysia. So they will do the proper selection to get the right people there. But the thing is that we need the states also to say, look, MHC is coming on board to give us all this. We need to also help ourselves. They should make sure that the program is run, because we're giving you everything. Don't come back tomorrow and tell us, what are we doing? Where's the development? No, it's yours. So you got to use whatever we give you to the fullest to make sure that you manage to develop as many talent as you can for your state also. So that's when they will also do well in all our national tournaments. But on top of that, we've got people like Vela, all ex-internationals, Siti Amarinas, also ex-internationals, Paul Revington, chaired by Datuk. But we also need to make sure that there will be enough talent to be taken out, to be polished and groomed at this very young age to be absorbed into our national setup. So the structure here will be, there will be a so-called steering committee, and then you will have the so-called technical committee, and then you have the working committee, and then you have state level committees. So the state office bearers also cannot say that, hey, there's no program, there's no this, there's no that, because like we find it since 2010 there's been so much of development being done. Unfortunately, people still keep saying there's no development program. So we want to put a rest to this, So like I said, like what Dato said, we have it. It's fantastic. I think this is a fantastic development program Malaysian hockey has, but yet people fail to realize that it's actually existent. So I think with this so-called new branding that we're going to come up with, like I said, it's not an old new program. It's an old program that's always been there, but it's a continuity and branding, and we want to get everybody committed towards it. So everybody should take responsibility, because if this thing's supposed to succeed and be successful, then I think everybody from the parent body to the state level, the Kementerian Pendidikan, even ISN, MSN, all these office bearers should actually be collectively responsible in order to make this thing happen.
And the kids are in schools. So why we are orientating towards that is because we want the schools to be empowered, and we want the neighbouring schools to start sending to one school, so you can also be centred there. But I think Datuk Seri has come up with a good suggestion. We also will have a special centre in KL Bukit Jalil under the Malaysian hockey itself. That will be the only non-school centre actually at the moment. That's because we want to
like a pilot project.
So for us, so the centres have collectively been identified based on the suggestion of our State Hockey Association. Actually, it was very meticulous. State Hockey Association suggests the centre, Ministry of Education suggests, then we sit down and really deliberate which school needs to be the State Hockey Centre, which is the District Hockey Centre, which is the grassroots. So of course there's also the presence of the State Sports School itself in the states by the Ministry of Education. So what we want to do is, now this is actually a recognition for teachers who have been working very hard. And it's very clear that at states they are very dedicated teachers and all that. So just imagine now, if your teacher who's already working with the centre, we get to formalise the channeling of players from primary school to secondary school in a nice way with the Ministry of Education, and your teacher gets paid 500 ringgit a month to do that job which they are already doing so dedicatedly on their own without anything. So that's the idea of the centre. So every state, depending on the geographical composition of it, we have three small states like Perlis, Penang, and then we have medium size, and then we have the large states like Sabah and Sarawak. So every one of them will have three types: district hockey centre, state hockey centre, and grassroots hockey centre, which is below 10. So only thing is the numbers will vary. However, we were looking very much if once the program takes off next year to increase the numbers at the moment lah. But minimum one district hockey centre, one grassroots and one state hockey centre in every state minimum.
We're going to. It's not about we're going to. We already have about 2,000 over. Because some people keep saying we want to. Everybody can say we want to. We're going to do this. Let's do it. Let's not talk. So for us is that we already have this number of young children out there, but we want this number to grow. It's about actually not about us. It's about once we even leave, but this program should be there continually developing young talent to be scouted and to be developed. The only issue now that we need to see is we have the so-called pilot project, because sometimes even at state levels, I mean, you're doing it, yeah, but we also want to see whether we can start off some program to call it as our pilot project, also to have it. So we're going to run it from Bukit Jalil and also Stadium Tun Razak, where we will employ some people to come on board and do coaching, but they will also be like a center where in Klang Valley. So basically, not only if you're in Selangor, you come to Selangor. No, you can come from KL, you can come from any part of this area, or even from Kajang, from Semenyih, anywhere, come on board. So we'll have another center here, which will also, we're quite confident that it will be successful in order for us to develop a lot of talent to be absorbed into the national setup. Yeah.
The strongest school there at the moment. So if you look at it, the most district orientation, there is 1 or 2 schools which are very good. Yeah. So we identify 1 or 2 schools there, hoping that the other district players will actually be channeled to that school. So only thing earlier, we didn't have this process of actually channeling. So this time around we're doing that, which is new. That means what we are doing is we are actually seeing how the selection process is being done. And usually, if one school is very good already, that school will run in and then we're happy with the outcome. Now we're actually studying each child in that district center. Is it really representing the district, or is it just the teacher and that school alone? So that's how we will channel. So we're having a selection process, which will be open, and we'll put it on all our social media and inform the parents and the teachers and through the schools that such a date there's going to be a selection for this district. So all the kids from other schools can come to this center for the selection. Then we'll facilitate with the Ministry of Education how they get to the schools.
So the centers are, when is the target? Next year?
No, actually it's we've already identified the centers.
Okay.
We've already got it endorsed at the working committee already. 1 or 2 centers we're still negotiating with the state and the education department. But now all the list has already gone. We're already communicating with them. Only thing, since due to the COVID, in a way, on the positive sense, we have a bit of time. So what I think Datuk Seri and us have decided is to let Paul Revington interact with these coaches. Earlier we thought we just take them on board straight. Now he's here already and we have time. So we had the interview the other day, 2 days, 26 candidates online via Zoom. So the next step we're going to do is we're going to get Paul to speak to the coaches themselves at the school.
Coaches in the grassroots level. So we're going to organize that, which he will actually interact with them and what is expected of them. And also we will set some KPIs on them also. It's not that once you appoint them, they're going to be there forever. No. We also have KPIs that we need them to do exactly what the technical director needs them to do, but that will be done by the technical director, which is Paul Revington. So he will have set his own KPIs for them, and because he's also got to be responsible to present to us probably on a monthly basis on report on how well this program is actually running, and then we have to report back to the ministry, which we have this working committee that we have. So everybody takes responsibility and everybody got to work towards making it successful. Definitely there'll be 1 or 2 hiccups here and there, but that doesn't mean that we cannot improve it, look into the weaknesses that we have, improve on it and make it much better and successful, so that this will be a long-term program that the government will be happy enough to give us continued funding for many years to come.